It was a very nice reading this week of this almost 6 chapters. First, from chapter 10, they tell us the examples of the Israelites, how what happened to them. It is a good lesson for us. But as we have read one scripture, which is very important, if we go to chapter 10 and verse 12, we can read it together. It says, "Consequently, let him that thinks he is standing beware that he does not fall." I like the scripture so that we should get this attitude, no matter how we read the Bible, no matter how spiritual we can be, but we should remember that we are wearing the body and flesh which means we can fall down anytime. That's why we need to be more careful. And then if we continue to chapter 11, they tell us how we have to continue to be imitators of Jesus Christ. And again, they say something which is very important. Even from verse 23 to 25, they remind us the Lord's evening meal. When we come to chapter 12, they tell us, they give us an example of the body. So how the hand, the fingers, everything, how they work together. And then when we read on chapter 12, verse 8, they tell us something again, which I really liked. It says that from chapter 12, verse 8, it says, "For example, to one there is given through the Spirit speech of wisdom, to another speech of knowledge, according to the same Spirit, to another faith by the same Spirit, to another gift of healings by that one Spirit." So it means that we as the congregation, we are like one body, but like the fingers can be used, or the hands can be used to eat, or the legs are used to walk, but as one congregation, all of us, we have different gifts. Some they are good to talk, others they are good in the ministry, others they are good in doing this. So, but all of us as a congregation, we are working together as one body. And when we continue in chapter 15, there we see that everything we do, as we are working as one body, whatever we are doing is not in vain. We can read together verse 58 of chapter 15. There it says, "Consequently, my beloved brothers, become steadfast, unmovable, always having plenty to do in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor is not in vain, is not in vain in connection with the Lord." So our labor, whatever we are doing in the ministry, what we do, we have to know that it's not in vain. We should know that Jehovah remembers everything we do. So, to finish what I prepared, when we go in Corinthians again, we come back to the verse which is almost similar to what we started with. It's in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 13. It says, "Stay awake, stand firm in faith, carry on as a man, grow mighty." So we should stay awake. So, brothers and sisters, this is what I prepared. So for sure I have prepared also a lot. So now I'm waiting to hear just what you have been reading. We start Brother Knowledge. Brother John Knowledge. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I was interested in chapter 13, verse 1, and also verse 13. There the Apostle Paul says, "If I speak in the tongue of men and of angels, but do not have love, I have become a sounding piece of brass or a clashing cymbal." And the last verse 13 says, "Now, however, they remain faith, hope, love, these three, but the greatest of these is love." So why did he say love is the greatest? Because it says, For example, when we've got faith, faith will end because we're going to have what we have faith for. And then if we have hope, will be given for what we are hope for. But for love, it will remain forever. That's why love is the greatest.
Thank you very much. Sister Greta? Yes.
Yeah, I was thinking of chapter 15 and verse 33. It emphasizes the bad association spoil useful habits. So it shows the importance of not association. Of course, we know with people in the world, but when it comes to brothers and sisters in the truth, we have to be very careful.
Thank you very much. Brother Roman?
In 1 Corinthians 10, verses 27 to 28, it says, "If any of the unbelievers invites you and you wish to go, proceed to eat everything that is set before you, making no inquiry of account of your conscience. But if anyone should say to you, this is something offered in sacrifice, do not eat on account of the one that disclosed it and on account of conscience." So this scripture just shows here how conscience issues can be many times in the gray area. And in this case, he's saying that you don't have to go around inquiring where food comes from because everything belongs to God. But if someone says this is something offered in an idol, and then you eat it, then that person might be able to go around and say, you see, the Christians are eating food from idols. They're not taking this no idolatry thing seriously. So it's something that we should always be aware of, that what we're doing out in the world can reflect on Jehovah, even if it may be something that is not directly going contrary to the biblical principles, that we have to be aware of how this looks.
Thank you very much. Brother Paul?
Yes, I think further on from what you, Brother Olivier, mentioned about the oneness of the body, it says in 26 and Corinthians 12, if one member suffers, then all the other members suffer. I was thinking a while back, I remember hitting my thumb and losing a nail, and the intense pain, that's only a small part of the body, and yet the whole body seemed to be very preoccupied with that one small part. In the same way in the congregation, perhaps if somebody is suffering or somebody has a problem, then we should be likewise, interested in that one person, how we can help that one to show love towards that one. So that's the way we can preserve oneness.
Thank you very much. Sister Nicole?
I like 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 8 because just the first part, because it's encouraging for people who for some reason have found themselves out of the congregation, either by choice or because they've made a mistake and haven't changed their mind yet. It reminds them that Jehovah doesn't hate them and the congregation doesn't hate them either. But when they work with themselves and find it, and the time is ready, they can always pray to Jehovah and come back to his congregation.
Thank you very much. The last comment from Brother Stephen.
I appreciated 1 Corinthians 10 verse 13, the last part. There it says that along with the temptation, Jehovah God will also make the way. It does not say a way. This means that with our individual temptations, there are different ways Jehovah God can help us out of them. And when he does help us out of them, it would also be encouraging for us to comfort others who are in similar situations.
Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your preparation.